Hello, it's Friday night, and what do you do on Friday? You do geometry, of course. This one I'm going to do a video on drawing the Platonic solids. Now, plenty of sites and stuff you can find on the net, and usually they do the fruit of life, which is called, and that's actually the best way to do it. But that involves a lot of circles, but of the Platonic solids you can do quite a few without going to that extreme, and we can do it using the seed of life, which is quite simple. It's really just 7 circles. I made this video before and then I screwed up by not having everything in camera, so this is the seed of life. So we start with a circle, and then we do a vesica, which is just another circle on the edge, and now that's what's called the vesica piscis or the vesica pisces. Now, to do the seed of life, we just keep drawing around, so wherever the circles intersect, and just keep following that around that central circle. And so what we'll have is 1 circle in the center and 6 circles on the outside. And there's some, okay, I've been being a little bit rough, but if you do it properly, all the circles will be perfectly intersect there. So I've done a little bit of a boo-boo by being too rough, but that's okay. So what we have now is a seed of life. So 1 circle surrounded by 6. So to begin with, you have a sphere, and strictly not one of the Platonic solids, but it is one of those essential 3D shapes. And so you can if I was better at shading, we'd have a sphere. But that's what's important. What I want to really go talk about this one is because starting with the seed of life, you have 1 circle fully enclosed. So say you get like 1 circle. As you do the flower of life, and you would have 6 circles, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 circles around there. And then as you keep drawing and growing this pattern outwards, you eventually get to the fruit of life, and you have 1 circle in the middle by another 12 around there, so 13 in total. But so the Platonic solids, they will do a standard. So we just draw a seed of life again, and I'll do this one as accurate as I can so we can see how it, because one of the good points about the seed of life, it creates a hexagon, and it's really nice because the thing about the hexagon is that it divides this circle up perfectly, and so it would divide this circle into 6 even parts, and with that we get a hexagon. And hexagon is one of those in 2 dimensions, that one of the most beautiful shapes out there for a couple of reasons, and I'll just illustrate those in a second. So to begin, we have a hexagon now, 6 equal sides, and one of the beauties of the hexagon, it's why bees make their hives with it. It's the most efficient use of space and form, and also it's stackable. So unlike a pentagon or a lot of other shapes, you can't stack them perfectly, but you can with a hexagon because the edge length is equal to the radius. But we also now have, with a hexagon, it's a good way to draw the cube. So simply by bringing 3 lines together, a little bit of shading, we get a cube. And if you just do it in different directions and a little bit of different darkness, it just helps to highlight the cube. So there we have one of the first of the Platonic solids, the cube or the hexahedron. Now if we do another seed of life, again just And while I'm here, the vesica piscis, the vessel of the fish, or ichthys, one of the earliest earliest symbols of Christianity. And if you can imagine here, we have this fish shape. So if I was to draw a little tail there, fish eye or whatever, that's the earliest symbol. Now with the vesica, you can also create a Christian cross, but that's something else. So I'm doing the Platonic Solids. And again, like there's a little mistake in there because I'm not being super accurate, but just for the points of illustration. Now, the next one would be the Octahedron. So it's an 8-sided one, and so I want to focus on these 6 points on the outside there, and we'll use them to construct it. So if we begin at 1, we skip the next, and we go, and then we join every second one. And this is another thing that's really cool about the vesica, or the seed of life, that it creates equilateral triangles. So for engineering, geometry, so many other things, art, to create a perfect equilateral triangle, this is one way to do it. So you create an equilateral triangle there, and then at each, so we skipped 1 point, and that's all we do is now join that. Do the same over here, the same over here, and now we bit of shading. If you just sort of change direction and a little bit of change the darkness on each one, just to give them a little bit more of an appearance, and a little bit of shading on the central one. Just to darken up the lines. Yeah, you're best off to do this with a ruler and spend a little bit more time on the shading, but just trying to get the point across. So there we have the Octahedron. Next we can do the Icosahedron, and okay, so it's still all in camera shot again with the there we just do a seed of life, 6 circles around the central, the 7th. And to do this one a little bit better, we're just going to do a few construction lines, and so just faintly I'm just going to, so through each petal, let's call it, we're going to create an axis, and I do that because I want to find the central point on the outside of that those circles there. So we have 1, 2, 3. Now you don't necessarily need all of them, but I'm just doing it anyway. Just a faint line. And now first of all we need to, so now we're going to focus on the central circle, and again we're going to do an equilateral triangle simply by skipping every second of those petals. And now the same again, 1, 2 and 3, but upside down of a smaller equilateral triangle. So now we have 2 equilateral triangles, one larger, one smaller, being invert of the other. And now, so this larger triangle on the outside, we join these. So again, just follow along. The same thing along this edge. Same thing again. And now we go to the inside, the smaller triangle, and simply extend those lines out. And now with a bit of shading. For those with a better eye at art and imagining the patterns of light and shade, you do a lot nicer job than what I can. But it's just about giving it a little something of an appearance of a three-dimensional object. And there we have a basic Icosahedron. Yep, and that's in camera. So there we have the cube, the Octahedron, and the Icosahedron. Again, to do the others such as the Dodecahedron or the okay, we could still do one more. Yeah, so you really want to do the flower of the fruit of life, to do the Dodecahedron, because that involves pentagons, which is a bit trickier. But just as a simple, we can get these, and so now we'll do a Tetrahedron. Again, these I'm just illustrating these 4 of the 5 Platonic solids because they're easy to do with just the seed of life. So you don't need anywhere near as many circles as you do to create the Dodecahedron. And the Tetrahedron's really the simplest, and again, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. We're going to again skip each one. We have an equilateral triangle, and then from the central point we draw a line out to each corner, and we have a tetrahedron. Now it's not technically a Platonic solid. If we were to do another equilateral triangle, we would also get the star tetrahedron, but that's technically not a Platonic solid, so we'll leave it at there. So yeah, so what you do, so just with the seed of life, we get relatively simple, relatively quick way to do 4 of the 5 Platonic solids. Anyway, hope you enjoyed and have a good one. Okay, so previous video I showed a way to draw at least 4 of the 5 Platonic solids using the seed of life, and with the same system you can also make nice little 3D models of them. And start with the simplest. Actually no, I'll start with the octahedron because I've already got that in mind. And so it's 8 octahedron. It's 8-sided. Must imagine like 2 pyramids on top of each other, and it's pretty simple really. And as with all things that come from, begin with the vesica and then move from there into the seed of life. So we're in camera. Okay. So I'll do a seed of life, and okay, I just want it so it fits in the page and as large as I can get it. Yep. And we formed the vesica, and now we're just going to go around, create the seed of life. 6 circles around the central. I'll try and make a point of being accurate, so make the model as nice as you can. Okay, so now we have our seed of life, and where am I? What am I thinking of? Okay, so we're going to start with, we'll create equilateral triangles, and so we're going to start from the center, and I'm going to use a ball point just so I can press it in and make the folds easier. And so from here I'm going to go basically from the center out to each of these, the tips of the petals, let's call them. Oh, we can just do that one straight across. Okay, now just with a pencil I'm going to do the same thing just to find the axis as it passes through the outside of those circles. And now we want to join each point to the next, and we'll have a series of 6 equilateral triangles. And that's like another cool thing about the hexagon. It's we'll make a hexagon, and that's 6 equilateral triangles, and that's 60 degrees each angle, which is 60 times 3600 minutes, or yeah, 216 again. So the numbers that I always ramble on about in the sacred architecture are also the same that emerge from this type of geometry if you use a 360 degree compass. And actually I wasted my time. We don't actually need these points on the outside, we just need these points here, so you can save a bit of time. And now we're going to make another set of equilateral triangles. And you might notice it's going to actually turn out to be a Star of David, and if I'd thought about it more we could have saved some time with the lines, since the lines we've already drawn could just be extended out, but c'est la vie. You might start to see the 6-pointed star, the hexagram emerging. again, we can actually save a bit of time with, I should have extended those lines out to begin with. A couple of wines Friday night, you know how it goes. Okay, so there we have the basis of it, and we've also got the tabs built in, so we're going to use these to glue it all together. But I'm just doing this on the fly. I've created more than enough to create the octahedron, but we can overlap some stuff to help it out anyway. Hello, this is so pardon me, I've got a video processing in the background. It's actually simpler than this. We don't need all 6 points because really, so what we have is 12 triangles altogether. We only really need 8 to make it, but it's best to have an extra one to overlap just to help stick it all together and give it a little bit more rigidity. Okay, now we can do one cut down there into the centre and start to fold along those lines, and if you use a ballpoint it helps out because it's already makes it that much easier. So we're just going to fold along these lines. And you see, like, so we've already started, so we already have the top of the octahedron there without even cutting the side. Like we can just overlap a few just to help out. And then it's just a matter of, okay, so what I'll do is I'll get rid of this one just to help out. Outside so we don't see the lines. Now the beginning of our octahedron. So we have 4 sides there at the top. Just a bit of sticky tape. Okay, and we can get rid of that one as well. Probably best if I kept it, but that's okay. And now these tabs, we can fold them in. And that's what, like the vesica and the seed of life, that's why they're so cool. It's such a cool thing because so much emerges from it. It just makes so much geometry, both 2D and then easy to make 3D models. Let's keep that together so we have a and now we can start to fold in. So if I was to put a little bit of glue here, we can start to glue those in. I'm just going to use sticky tape. Again, if you spend a bit more time when you use glue, and if you were to like keep all the segments so that just to overlap them a little bit, just to help make it that much stronger. And there we have our octahedron. 8 sides, equilateral triangles coming out of the seed of life. And that's the view that we sort of get from that two-dimensional look at it. Okay, that's the first one. Cheers. Okay, so we did the octahedron from the seed of life, and very easy to do the tetrahedron. It's even simpler. And once again, starts from the seed of life is a good way to begin. So seed of life, and so what the tetrahedron is, 3 equilateral triangles with a 4th as a base. But I'll do the same construction method, and then we can just cut away the unnecessary just going to drawing a hexagram, 6-pointed star, Star of David. Now again, we have way too many, have more than enough triangles to create it, but it's still worth doing just to see how this the same shapes in this geometry just again come up and just make very easy. It's all really emerging from the hexagon, equilateral triangles and circles, and they're very much linked, very nicely linked. And of course at the heart of it, the seed of life. So what we only really need is 1, 2, 3 and a 4th, and just to keep so I'll just highlight where I'm going to cut just to make it a bit easier to follow. Along there, 4 sides. Try and get as sharp as you can to the corners. The tabs are not so important because you're going to fold them away. You might even reckon, what was the name? You've seen a lot of those, especially supernatural themed shows. You'll sort of see that symbol in various forms. But okay, easiest, so we just fold along those lines where we've with the ball point we've already made. Again, yeah, if you push hard with your ball point, be careful because I've already ruined this table by doing it. But make sure you have permission, or you're not too fussed about the state of your table. And again, if you were to spend a little bit more time gluing it together nicely with those little tabs on the end just to help out with the glue. Again, I'm just going to use some sticky. So you probably want to use glue. Now if you spend a little bit more time, you could cut out that whole hexagram pattern and use the extra layers to give you a little bit of more rigidity, because when you fold in it's just that much nicer. But we have the octahedron and the tetrahedron. Okay, have a good one. Okay, now I might point out, now the cube is just a series of 6 squares. I'll let you, it's not too hard to do. And the icosahedron is basically the same thing, so it's just a series of triangles, and if you were to do that pattern with the seed of life but extend it out and just repeat it, and so you have many, this is what's left of that, but if you were to extend that pattern out and have many equilateral triangles, and then it's a bit of a puzzle just to work out how they would all fold in together, but you get the same, it's the same basic technique to create these. Now the dodecahedron is different, it involves pentagons, and that's a tricky one, and you really need to, even just to draw it in 2D is a bit tricky, but yeah, so at least to begin with you have these, and again the cube is just 6 squares, and it's very simple geometry anyway. Cheers.